Press Talk, a platform where we analyze some topical issues that made headlines and are still trending in the media. On this platform, we engage seasoned journalists to give informed and in-depth analysis to the issues as they affect governance and corporate existence of the entity, Nigeria. I am Charles Ibe, and with me on this platform, I have Chukwuma Nze. He is the coordinator, Young Journalist Forum. You're welcome to Press Talk.
Thank you for having me.
And also we have our in-house analyst, Emmanuel Iduku.
Thank you for having me.
The first issue that we have to discuss on this platform, the Rivers election. Finally, victory for the People's Democratic Party, PDP, when the INEC, the returning officer, finally read out the lines that everybody has been waiting for, declaring him returned elected. Victory after a whole long while. Mr. Chukwuma, what do you think?
For me, it's a process which was unprecedentedly cut short by the suspension, and we are all happy because we are still learning the democratic rules, that we don't use these suspensions to cause a clog in the wheel of that progress. So for us, it's a thing of joy that we can now say, as far as the gubernatorial and presidential elections are concerned, we have closed the process for now, pending, because the judiciary is another, that's where it ends. Exactly. When it gets to the Supreme Court. So as a Nigerian who prays that the democratic process grows from the previous ones, so I am happy that we have sealed that deal.
Of course, there are lessons that must have been drawn all through the whole Rivers debacle. It's Definitely. Not just Rivers. We had Kano, we had Plateau, we had a lot of states where we had to do supplementary elections and then arrive at results as it were. Now, still on this Rivers issue, we had a situation. Yeah. Rivers was a flashpoint. Had always been a flashpoint in Nigerian political talk, and then having to have two gladiators at the center of all of this, and then having lives lost, time wasted, resources of government and every other thing put into to arrive at where we are right now. What really do you think is wrong with Nigerian politics?
Well, before I answer that question, I'd like to congratulate the people of Rivers State, the governor-elect, Nyesom Wike. It has been a long-running battle. The party, the Rivers election has taught us so many lessons so far, taught us to understand that there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the part of INEC. But the one thing that made me happy yesterday was the fact that now there was no violence as we envisaged, and it shows that the Nigerian authorities are listening to the people after all. Now we have no instances of military intervention, as it were, during the normal election and all that. But going forward, I think something must be done deliberately by the Rivers people. In fact, I would have loved to see a situation whereby the elders of that state call these two people to order, because election is not war, right? These people have been friends before. We've heard, we know they have a history together before now, and Wiki has been chief of staff to Amici before and all that. Now, for them to throw Rivers State into that state of what it was during this election, I don't think it's a good one. I think there must be deliberate effort by the people, especially the leaders, the paramount leaders in that state. Elder statements, you come to the drawing board, because a lot of lives were lost in the course of this election, which was not worth it. Like President Jonathan will always say, that he said election is not worth the life of anybody, because it is a temporal thing. 4 years you are gone. Exactly. 8 years at maximum you are gone and you are done. So how come you're taking a life that you cannot create it? You cannot create. So I think, and then when you talk about people faulting the presence of military in Rivers State, you begin to understand why these things were meant to be. Now, Rivers became a flashpoint because of the way, the volatility of that terrain. We all know that it was a state coming out of, how do I call it, militancy and all that, a lot of guns in people's hands and all that. That's why the military came in. And military intervention also led to other issues that came up. I think it's not the best. INEC did their best. INEC couldn't have done better than what they did. Suspend the election, well, probably it was for the right reasons. I don't know about that, but the truth of the matter is that Rivers people have to come to terms. This should not be. 2023 should not go down like this.
Exactly. Now, another issue that we can draw from the Rivers issue is this issue of having super individuals who appear to be bigger, larger than life, larger than the state, larger than the constitution, larger than the law. We also saw at play a lot of horse trading and accusations and all of that. In the middle of all of that, we had a Rotimi Amechi, serving minister, a former governor, also somebody close to the corridors of power. And we see military, although there are a lot of issues, fake military and all of that. But then it was a clear war between these two, one on the other side, one seemingly from the government side. You understand? Even though the APC, through their national chairman, did come out and say there was no arrangement between AAC and APC whatsoever, indicating or implying that Amechi was acting on his own. But then we had the military, which is a government institution, playing a very key role in that. Now, moving forward, from all these lessons drawn, super individuals, bigger, larger than life and bigger than the law and all of that, two elephants fighting and the grass suffering, what measures should be put in place going forward that we don't have individuals that are bigger or larger than life, so to speak?
It's just a problem of our institutions. If we have functional institutions, individuals do not raise their head. It's the institution that you just talked about somebody, Amechi being the Minister of Transport and an incumbent. He was there before. We've had the likes of Peter Odili before him. He's very calm. We don't hear him the way we are hearing these other two. So it depends on the individual. So the truth is, we have to get institutions to work. If you are an individual, no matter who you are, if you abuse, even if you are the peak or the head of an organization, an institution, and you misbehave, there are the ways the institution should be able to check excesses. So our society, I think we are still trying to learn the ropes, and we learn through our experiences. For crying out loud, the incumbent, Wike, according they call him Mr. Project. He has been able to distinguish himself practically, which was played out during the elections. The margin is wow. In fact, they had to ignore the rerun that they planned to do to make up, And these are issues you cannot change the wheel of progress.
Yes.
So if you look at the calculations, he was already on that path because he engaged the people.
Okay, then now going forward, do you see penalties?
No, that's why I say institutions must work. Like we talked about the military coming out. The military, the constitution says INEC can make requests for security, and the duties, the role of the military was defined. You don't have anything to do close to electoral areas. You just block if there is any external attack and you see them, you block. So that it doesn't get to the aggression, doesn't get to the center of activities. So for the military coming to the center of the election process, it's an aberration, and it is something that the institution should not have allowed ab initio.
And now that it has happened,
going forward, we have to strengthen the institution. That is just where I'm going to.
Now, in strengthening the institution, Mr. Emmanuel, do you think what should be done categorically, the military, the electoral process, the key players, because there are these people that at the end of it, we all know what happened. We all know who played what role at what point in time. So shying away, just pushing everything under the carpet. 2023, it might have to regenerate again, and we'll start having issues. Going forward, what would you, being in a place, if you had the power like this today, what should be done to ensure we don't have a reoccurrence?
But before I answer that, I would like to make you understand that sometimes what we see playing out in the public space is not what is already happening on ground. For those that are always faulting the military, yes, of course, the military has no place in the electoral process. The military should not be anywhere close to elections. Elections were held in over 20 states in Nigeria, in the 2019 elections. And it was only Rivers State that we got to hear there was an altercation between the military and the people. Now, what happens is that sometimes the security operatives, I sympathize with them. Sometimes you don't see what goes down the underground. But what comes out is that people now wait for it to happen, and then once it happens, the fire back, military, the military. I didn't cover Rivers State during the elections. I was in Benue, but I from all the stories and feelers I was hearing was that they were already, for the police was already charged up by these two political gladiators, like you rightly called them, Amechi and Wike. They were like, it was a do or die affair, we were going to win by force, we were taking the, and all those kinds of statements were dished out to the public. And then you know what it means for a leader to instill the people. Because if you tell me I should do is a do or die affair, then if I'm your follower, I'll be ready to die for you if I'm so ardent follower. But I think what should be done going forward is that, just like you said, our institutions must be strengthened. What institutions are we talking about here? The INEC, the police, the political parties, the law. What about the law? No, the Electoral Act wasn't passed, but it had no effect on this one for now. But I think even the political parties, which are constituted institutions, must understand that we must begin to reorientate Nigerians to understand that elections are not really a must. It's not a do or die affair. We should understand, we should know that the true definition of democracy is a government of majority rule. And the majority rules, even if it's by a little margin. Once it's a majority, they take the lead. And then people should understand that this is not, life does not end at a particular point. Now we're going to have series of elections going forward. Now what is going to be done? Now I think what should be done to forestall such incidences is that we need more orientation, especially in that, neither generally, not just Rivers State, because I had those instances in Akwa Ibom State too, and Akwa Ibom election is coming. I don't know how it's going to be. It might still, those kind of issues might still spring up. But I think there should be deliberate effort, and I think INEC, the Department of Voter Education in INEC, I don't think they are doing enough. I thought they are doing very well. Just like I told you in one other forum, that the NOA must live up to its expectation. Yes. Nigerians must be schooled to understand that this election, when you go to Port Harcourt, you know what I'm talking about. If you ever lived in Port Harcourt, you know what Port Harcourt looks like.
All right.
I think there should be more reorientation.
More reorientation is what Nigerians need right now to ensure that they get the process right.
I also think, sorry for interjecting, I also think that an independent body should be able to investigate the process. If you investigate the process, you tell us who did what at what point in time, and we apportion blames. Okay,
so you are more or less advocating for a commission of inquiry or something.
If we say a commission of inquiry might, if that is what it's about nomenclature now.
Yeah, but we did hear the army say we are going to institute.
No, the army has.
Yes, but the army tried to. Constituting the panel to investigate itself, I'm
talking about an independent civil society.
The army was complicit in this election.
Civil society, you can bring people representative from these institutions that play the strategic roles to ensure that their interests are protected. You know, just for them to see how the process runs, and at the end of the day, we bring out if you watch the history of Nigeria, we have wonderful documents. Yes. The West report is there, the Nnamani report is there. These are wonderful documents that were done dispassionately by Nigerians. But unfortunately, because of some ulterior motives, we have not been able to implement them because they are there.
So that's why you know that the politicians are the ones that even cause these problems, because we had electoral reforms. We know how to do these things well, but they come and then they thwart it deliberately because they know that if they do, they know it's not going to go well with them at the polls.
And to a large extent, some people blame it on the non-signing of the electoral reforms by the president.
Well, no, this present document is not even part of it. It's not part of.
So it doesn't.
Not part of one of some of the things we should blame. Not this present one actually, but we have that electoral reform. There's some clauses that were dropped, especially the waste report. Clauses that were dropped that would have gone a long way to forestall this kind of incidences we saw in the last election.
But another thing is that you can have a wonderful document, and if the actors who implement that document do not want it to be implemented. They will just act the way they like. So it's not about the document. In the United Kingdom, we have an unwritten constitution. But when people learn how to act right,
It goes a long
they
way.
work with conventions, and when you know that it hurts you not to slap your neighbor, you don't go and slap him. It's
Of
a
course.
convention, and it meets up with what society demands.
All right, congratulations once more to people of Rivers State. Concluded elections, a governor still is sitting and moving forward. Now let's look at another issue that has been trending right for a long time now, and which is still going to trend. The 9th Assembly.
Yes.
We are still some months away to the inauguration of this assembly, but already we are having issues everywhere. The ruling party, the APC, is insisting it's going to have its stamp on who leads the 9th Assembly. Some of the senators are saying, no. This has to be our decision. This has to be our choice. Nobody should be breathing down our neck and say, this is who we take on, or this is who we take on. But the question is, should we, at this point in our democracy, be really talking about impositions, fighting over a bridge that we have not even gotten to it, talking about crossing it? Where should be what do you really think about the whole debacle in the 9th Assembly?
Well, the 9th Assembly, for me, what's happening there is still politics playing out. I think the APC are trying to be very careful now. You know what happened in 2015, build up to before the inauguration of 2015 National Assembly, where they lost the seat to somebody who wasn't their choice.
But was still their member.
Exactly, was still their member. But now you sympathize with the APC for not wanting the choice of Saraki, because what happened before the end of that assembly proved the reason why they didn't even want him in the first place. And the issue of imposition is not normal. It's not normal, but it's not outrightly
Out of place.
Out of place. It's out of place democratically. Well, the constitution did not say, but it says that the National Assembly members who convene and elect their leaders, isn't it? Now the APC enjoys majority in the House. Now the only problem we have is that if the APC can come to a round table and come to a consensus and present one candidate, we won't be having these issues. But the issue, where the issue came up was that some other people are also vying for same position, and they were not given the opportunity. Well, it's unfortunate that APC up until now have not come out to speak with one voice. Because remember when the PDP held sway in power, PDP had a way of making everything amicable. They settle it in their dark room and they come out with one person. It would be as if it was an election, but you see that the person has been decided. But this one, APC, but there's something APC is doing that I think I like. All right, the seeming disunity between the ranks of the party, I think it's good for our democracy. All right, that's by the way, though, it's good for our democracy because we see a situation whereby the party seems to have people, they don't speak with one voice, and that's why they will not be able to run the country aground the way the PDP did. I don't know if you understand, because even the APC was even tried this election. The APC had issues with INEC, PDP has issues with INEC. Okay. You get this already. So, but the imposition is wrong. The position of I think the leadership of the party, what they didn't do rightly was that they did not, in their cone, in their closet, solve this matter before coming. You have settled everybody, settled the Ndume, settled the Gojes, those that are trying to contest. Right, made them see reasons why you wanted lava. If you know, human beings are dynamic. If you give human beings reasons for a particular action, they're not promising them money as it.
All right, Mr. Chuma, before all of this, when the APC was formed and going forward, even after 2015 and going towards to 2019, there has been this notion that this is a marriage of strange bedfellows who just came together to take power without even knowing what to do with power. Are we seeing it playing out now again? Do you foresee an implosion?
Fundamentally, because the marriage is still bearing so much fruit. There are so many children. They have the presidency, which is the cash cow of Nigeria. So
the hand that
even if other aggrieved members are there, because they will see something to benefit, so it can be assumed to be working. The fundamentally is not. It's not, because let's come back to the National Assembly issue now. If you say you are a father in your home, you have children, and you say, I prefer this one over others. You see the kind of disunity it brings into the home.
Yeah.
So for me, I think they erred the national leadership of the APC erred in not bringing the children together and look at those people who have shown interest to say, we want to contend for this position, and bring them together and say, okay, of these 3 people, let us narrow down to maybe 2. Then you make this.
Have a contest.
Yeah, yes.
And probably think about settlements of a juicy.
Yeah, it's a thing that they should have just said. Let's allow the people to, because we are talking about democracy.
Yeah, so
it's about the number of the people.
In a way, now are we faulting the leadership of the APC right now, or the senators, or the national?
This decision they've made. You see the rank orders. And Ali Dume yesterday came out with a 9-point agenda for his own campaign. So he has, if that was how the Saraki case started,
and it was also
Saraki it's out.
And it was also in the news that the APC is insisting that it.
Yes, they are. In fact, they are even making it worse because the national leader recently said, if you don't want, you leave the party. Yes, it's like telling you leave the cake.
Irrelevant, yes.
So already they are setting a template for what happened.
Exactly.
And then the PDP can easily just feast on this, and then
no, it's going to play out again because you see, if you repeat, they say we don't learn from history, we repeat history. It is what is going to play out because already the house is divided, and traditionally the PDP bulk is intact.
Yes.
So anybody who keys into that bulk and the PDP is able to negotiate their way forward, the PDP has over 40.
And the 13 senators from the APC that are aggrieved by the choice of Lala, and once they move over to the PDP,
that is it. That is the mathematics.
But then, in the midst of all of this, I think shouldn't we be focusing on Nigeria? At what point does it stop being parties, and then let's look about moving this country forward, irrespective of what party? I think the president did mention that when he hosted the senators to a dinner, that you have an honorary tax ahead of you. Aside from party fights or yourselves and all of that, think Nigerian. So at one point today, he got a rallying call from the president. Even if it has to be a PDP.
As Nigerians, we have a way of making ourselves feel better when we see certain things. Now, a human being is affiliated. It's an affiliation. First of all, to family, before you get to state, you get to society. Because even when you are growing, as in your adulthood, in your normal day-to-day life, it's called that you have alliances, you have affiliations, or you can't take that away. And all these pockets of groups and affiliations and group and whatever, they are all part of the entities that make up Nigeria.
Yes.
Now, if you look at national interest, if the interest of that part, now people can hardly separate themselves from from their interest from what they are. You can't tell me that because I love Nigeria so much, I should kill my interest in do you understand? In my association with my family. If I'm not in tune with my family, how will I like Nigeria if I don't like my fellow brother, I don't like my colleagues? Do you understand me? I start from the beginning. The truth of the matter is that our political parties must understand one thing. In as much as they should understand that what is lacking between their ranks is that they don't know that all they are doing is supposed to be geared towards growing Nigeria. Now, we do it our way, all for national interest. Do you understand? But they don't do it their way, all for national interest. They just do it and they feel it's for their pockets and all that. So that's why it goes in line. And then the APC leadership should understand that whatever they do today is going to make or mar that party tomorrow. Now, the Senate is a very strong body, right? The PDP has made a statement with this election that they are not pushaways, right? We saw PDP fought APC tooth in some of the elections. Right? We saw how APC won some elections narrowly, PDP.
Yes.
So they should understand that, they must understand now that they don't get their house together, all happened in 9th Assembly happened. And you know, the 8th Assembly was not really that productive because of this rancor.
Exactly.
And Nigerians cannot afford to tow that part anymore. So they must understand that if Oshomole and the APC so love Nigeria as they claim to do, and the Buhari, all right, the president seems to be detached from politics to a point. I think it's time for him to come and make a statement. It's time for him to call these people together. He has respect, he has charisma. People have a way of honoring him, whether you like it or not. Buhari is a charismatic person. He's a man of the people. He has that age on his side. People respect his military background and all that. He must come now. I know if Buhari sits these people down and then make a statement, makes his choice, I don't think this rancor will go on.
All right. Press Talk will continue after this break. President Muhammadu Buhari, in a letter he transmitted to the leadership of the National Assembly and read during Senate plenary on Tuesday, rejected 7 more bills transmitted to him by the National Assembly. The bills include the Chartered Institute of Training and Development of Nigeria Bill 2018, Nigeria Aeronautical Research and Rescue Bill 2018, National Institute of Credit Administration Bill 2018, and Ajaokuta Steel Company Completion Bill. Other bills are National Housing Fund Bill 2018, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria Bill 2018, National Biotechnology Development Agency Bill 2018, bringing to 20 the number of bills the President had rejected in 2019. Now, gentlemen, 20 bills. No from the presidency. And the one of the bills that really had caused a stir in the polity is this Ajaokuta Steel Company bill. Now, let's start with, what is this about rejecting bills? The upper house has looked at it and passed it. The lower, the whole National Assembly has harmonized and said, okay, this is what we'll have. And the president still now sits and say, no.
The question you should be asking yourself is, when was this bill sent to the National Assembly? Do you understand?
Yes.
When were they sent to the National Assembly? Is it because the 8th Assembly is
rounding
out and then you just pass, just like what happened in the time of Goodluck Jonathan, they just rush and pass bills without consideration? The reason he gave for not passing the Ajaokuta Steel bill is very valid. We cannot spend over $1 billion at this point. Do you understand? From an excess crude account to fund the budget when we have other boiling issues and all that. There's other bill, the mortgage bill. He said it's a duplication of another existing law that has been existing. I think the National Assembly, this is where Nigeria, you begin to see why our country is run this way. Now, is it because they are going out now? How many bills did they pass in the 3 years of their existence? They are passing 20 bills in this short while, just to make sure you jump back the president with, and then this president is coming for, he's running up a first tenure, all right, only to come up with a second tenure. They haven't taking a good look at some of the, you understand, or analyze the economy, analyze the politics before he moves, you just pass it to him, and then so that he will not sign. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
This is not a way to go. I would reject it if I was the president also.
So
most of them I would.
What's your take?
For me, I think it's a disservice to Nigeria for now on his part, especially with regards to the Ajaokuta bill. Now that we are looking at a large number of unemployed youth, the Ajaokuta Steel is an industry is a community of its own that can take out. I cannot call the thousands of numbers if you don't take out millions out of the unemployment radar. So that alone, for me, you can give reason for not doing any other bill or the other bills. Maybe because he gave some reasons. He said about duplication of, and we have so many organizations, so many institutions in Nigeria duplicating their functions. But for that Ajaokuta bill, the steel, without steel is development.
The question is that, is there other ways we can get Ajaokuta Steel working? Is there a better time? What the presidency is saying is that taking a whopping $1 billion at this point in time from SS crude account, which is one of the bedrock of our sustaining. We're talking about borrowing. We're still borrowing from the outside world. Ajaokuta Steel can work. They talked about concessioning it out to some people. Concessioning it out to some people from a particular time.
The last time we did
now,
that,
how many steel
Indians came to Nigeria to take what we had already take to their place because of that. The truth is we have to analyze. When you don't do critical reasoning to whatever you want to do with our Nigerian fund, if you have a leader who just pass things because it's my friend that brought it, you just pass it over. We'll continue.
And I think that's what the president is trying to avoid by passing that bill.
No,
because if
the Ajokuta is a very sensitive in the previous. If we had done that,
previous administrations.
If we had done that previously, we would have taken several of these youths that constitute nuisance on this.
You agree with me that over that amount and over multiples of them have been budgeted for that same steel company over the years.
That's why we must talk about critical analysis of every project, not pushing it away because he's an APC man or he's a PDP man, let me sign it. What we don't do is analyzing critically
the cause and effect.
Cause effects, monitor and evaluate at what point in time, from so time to so time, what will I achieve with this, and you follow it through.
One thing we should understand is that not consenting to a particular bill does not mean that bill has ended.
No, definitely.
All right. There could be other ways. It can be restructured. The price could be dropped. What the president is trying to tell the National Assembly is that you don't just bombard me with these 20 bills to be passed. Then you don't want 80 million people when we're in the midst of all this. Okay, and
there are still some more bills.
Supposing the president passes all these bills. Do you understand? What happened is that the next regime, and you know what it means to pass a bill in Nigeria. Immediately, it becomes law. All right, and you begin to see people working. No. I don't think the president has done. That's the most wise thing to do for now. Not consent to this bill, because these bills were only hurriedly passed by an assembly which has not been at par with the president. You understand what it means? All right, so all we do, let's just. Why were these bills pending all this? Why are they pending? Why now? Why passing 20 bills?
The truth why is, now? If you talk about the National Assembly is independent.
Yes.
For it not to be not being with the executive is wonderful. That's strengthening the democratic system. Yeah. The democracy of every country stands on a tripod. Yeah. Executive, legislature, and judiciary. So if this tripod is now narrowed to one, being controlled by one person, it means we don't have democracy. So what we are looking at, let's just say, let the debates be healthy in the interest of Nigeria. Let it not be political party driven. Good, we know that all these people, they have allegiance to their political parties. Yes, without the political parties, they will not be relevant. But immediately you are elected, Nigeria first. Before the political parties.
One thing I understand is that when people say the National Assembly should not be rubber stamp, they should be confrontational, I beg to differ. Now, the structures of these three arms of government naturally gives them the right to not really fight each other, to antagonize each other. All right, the way the National Assembly is structured by law makes
the checks and balance
makes it not to be. It should not agree with the executive all the time. And that's how the judiciary is. Now, when you're talking about being rubber stamps, it's a different thing altogether. When you say, okay, the National Assembly is doing the bidding. I'm not saying you said, but I'm saying if the National Assembly is doing their work as they should do constitutionally, and the executive is doing their work as they should do constitutionally, and the judiciary is doing their work as they should do constitutionally, ordinarily we'll have this. It doesn't mean that the Senate president and the president must be enemies before they check each other. Yeah. Because they could be friends doing the same thing, but at the end of the day, just like, how do I call it, a principal and his teacher in a school, right? It's not possible for, he has to check you at a particular time, or a supervisor and his worker. At a time he has to check you, even if it's your friend, he has to check your work and make sure you have done it very well. So that's how it should be. People should not think that because not being rubber stamps means that you should oppose the president.
No. The interface, that's why I
of these organs of government naturally makes them if they are all doing their work.
The interface must be healthy.
Yes, it must be.
It must be healthy.
All right. We will take a break right now. The program will continue.
I pledge to Nigeria, my country. So goes the opening lines of the 6-line national pledge of Nigeria. Today, not a few, whether young or old, merely recite the national pledge as a matter of routine or tradition, with their hearts being poles apart from the very spirit, creed, and essence of the pledge. Many simply do not understand its purport or feel the import of it, while many others choose to observe the pledge in breach only. Today we have decided to walk on the footpath of the very words of the National Pledge, keeping its vision and essence in our hearts, in our souls, and in our minds.
I pledge Nigeria, my country,
to be faithful,
loyal, and honest,
to serve Nigeria with all my strength,
to defend her unity,
and uphold her honor and glory.
So help me God. Nigeria, no doubt, will truly be the giant of Africa, developed and well-rated in all indices, if her national pledge is treated with sacred obedience. It's on us, it's our duty and responsibility to make this country a better place. Let's live the pledge.
That has been Press Talk from the tables of Television Nigerian. Thank you for being a part of it. I've had with me on the panel Mr. Chukwumanze. He's the coordinator of Young Journalist Forum. Thank you very much for making it to this platform.
Thank you
and
so
also
much.
our in-house analyst Emmanuel Idoku. Always a pleasure when journalists get together to talk about issues. You have fireworks and all of that. Expect more on this platform when we'll hit you again soon. Thanks for staying tuned and have a lovely day.